Cool. So you click on campaign tools, then here A/B split testing. And the whole idea of A/B split testing is to be able to segregate your contacts so that you can run tests on contacts that are similar and see which sequence or which landing page is most effective at converting these people. So it's really easy to set up. You just take your campaign. We have a nice video here that walks you through the whole thing. But you would take your campaign, and if say you have one follow-up sequence and you want to try to create a new one with slightly different copy and see if it performs better. So you would copy that follow-up sequence, and then you put a decision tree diamond before the two follow-up sequences. And then before the decision tree diamond, you just do an HTTP post to this URL right here. And this is a unique URL. Everybody that has free tools, excuse me, has a different URL. And so when the campaign builder calls this URL, it's going to randomly apply one of the tags that you see here. And you can use one of these tags. Well, it obviously wouldn't be random, wouldn't do any good, but it won't throw an error. You can use 2 of them, 4 of them, all 5, whatever you want. So within your campaign, the HTTP post hits our server. Our server randomly picks one of those tags and applies it to the contact. Then in the campaign, the contact hits that decision tree diamond, and that's where you split them up. So if they got the first tag, you send them to one follow-up sequence. If they got the second tag, you send them to the other one. And then you can go through, after they finish that follow-up sequence, you can look at the conversion rates based on those people that have the 2 different tags and see which one was most effective, which follow-up sequence or email copy was most effective. Any questions so far? I know I just breezed through that second time. Cool.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I love it.
Awesome.
That's a really cool tool.
So I'm just going to hop through. One of the other really commonly used ones that people like is date formatting. When you put dates in emails in Infusionsoft, they're formatted all wonky, not really human readable. So what we did is we made a way to make it a lot easier to use. You just pick a field on the contact record that has a date. So in this case, I'll use birthday. And then our tool is going to put it into a custom field. So I'm just going to grab a random field. And then you format it, and you have a bunch of formatting options here, including 2 options down here at the bottom for our friends across the pond. So you just pick the one that you want, and then you can put a time zone in. When you put the time zone in, it doesn't actually convert times at all. It just puts it after the date, or after the time, I'm sorry, so that people know this time is in Pacific or Eastern or whatever, but no conversions. And then it works in the same manner. You just copy this HTTP post URL, and again, this is a unique URL for each person, and you paste it into your campaign, and then you would send out the email. So if you have a follow-up sequence, the first thing you do is you would call this HTTP post. Some people like to add a timer for like 10 or 15 minutes or 5 minutes to make sure that this runs okay. I've never seen it not work without a timer, but Kevin, maybe you have, I don't know. And then once the date in the nice format has been put in the contact field, then you send out your email. So then Kevin wanted me to focus on field math for a few minutes. Field math is a pretty basic feature, but it's got some real power.
It's my favorite one for sure.
Yeah. So all of these tools have kind of grown out of, we used to watch the Infusionsoft forums really, really closely, and we've moved away from that a little bit to invest our time in other things. But when we saw a need or a recurring question, we'd build a tool and let people have it. So one of the powerful parts of field math is that you can add fields together. And this doesn't seem all that awesome right here, but let's say you had people buy from you and you want to know how often people buy from you so that you can pick your customers that buy most frequently. So all you would do is within the Infusionsoft campaign builder, you would create a goal that says when any product is purchased, then you would drag in the follow-ups. But let's pretend it was called, number of purchases. So I've configured it, and then I just click copy HTTP post URL, or you can click on this and it'll copy it. And then you paste that into the HTTP post inside Infusionsoft. Now, one of the things I like about our tools over plus this is that our URLs here are readable. So when you see this URL in your campaign, you can actually tell what it does. Like here it says free tools post receiver, increment field. This is a random key to make it secure, and then field name and how much you're incrementing it by. And you can edit this URL if you want without coming back to our tool. Let's say you wanted to increment it by 5, you could just replace that 1 with a 5. Um, anyway, so every time somebody makes an order, you would increment the number of purchases field by 1. And now you've got in your system a really easy way to see who your most active customers are. Now, another thing, so it's awesome if you know how active they are, but what if you've got a guy that's bought 10 99-cent products versus somebody else that's bought $2 million products? Obviously the $2 million products is more important. So there's a way to do that as well. Here in our campaign tools, there's a tool here called Order to Contact. And what this does is it will copy the order field from the most recently placed order for a contact into a contact field. So in the future, we may make a dedicated tool for this, but right now what you'd have to do is first, you would copy the total due right here into a field on the contact record. So let's say you had a custom field here called temporary last order total or something. So again, you would create a campaign, make a goal for any product purchased, put in an HTTP post that posts to this URL. Now you have the most recent orders total amount in a field on the contact record. And now you can come back to our field math tool and you can add the two fields together. So down here in your custom field list, you would have one called, most recent order invoice total. And then this field would be, total revenue from customer or something like that. And it's going to add the value of this field to this field and save it here. So a pretty nice, simple, easy way to start. I say easy, it could be easier, and we'll probably make a tool just for keeping track of the gross revenue from a customer. That's going to be down the road. So for now, 2 steps, and now you can have in the contact record how much money somebody has spent. So we have increment a field, decrement a field, add fields, subtract fields, multiply fields, divide fields, nothing too rocket sciencey. Another tool we have that people like to use is this opportunity to contact. If you're a sales organization and you process opportunity records, you can't merge fields from those opportunity records in campaigns. So what some people have done is they've set it up so that when they want to send out a email about a campaign, you set up a stage trigger inside Infusionsoft. Because Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can set up tags that apply whenever a opportunity switches stages, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. You can
Okay.
you can trigger anything in the campaign builder based off of a stage move.
Awesome, thanks. So what this tool does is we look at the most recently updated opportunity record. So you could create an opportunity stage called, meeting set or something like that. And then using this tool, you can copy a field from that opportunity record to the contact record. And again, we look at the most recently updated opportunity record. And when you change the stage or status of an opportunity record, that'll update its most recently updated date. And when you call this with an HTTP post, it'll copy data from that opportunity. So you could set up a sequence when the stage changes, you copy a couple fields from the opportunity record to the contact record, and then trigger another sequence that sends out some emails with that content. What is in miscellaneous tools? Oh yeah, so we have a couple things here. Email signatures. What I wanted is to standardize email signatures across an organization. I built this tool for us internally, and then we released it to everybody. Infusionsoft does a really great job making sure all employees across their organization have a standard email signature. So what we've got is someplace you can come in here and edit your signature template, and you can use HTML, and you put in your, whatever you want it to say or be. And then whenever a user logs into this system, and the way our Automation Center users work is any user within Infusionsoft can log into your Automation Center. So for instance, we have a sandbox app called II130, And so the URL to the automation center is ii130.novacsolutions.com. And any user of ii130 can log into this automation center using their Infusionsoft username and password. So once you've set up the signature generator, then you can come back here and users can log in, go to email signatures, and they can just copy this and paste it right in their email client. And now they have a signature that's consistent with everybody else in the organization. And this is based on their Infusionsoft information. So you could change a signature, put a promo or something in there, and then have everybody go and update their signatures real quick. We also have a text signature and a forum signature. Some people mark it by posting in forums, so this is an easy way to get them all consistent as well. We also have an API opt-in. This is a really random tool. It's just made if you import a bunch of records and you forget to opt them in, then you can run an HTTP post to opt them in via the API. We've got a bunch of warnings here because this is a really easy way to get busted by spam compliance. So you just have to use it carefully. And Infusionsoft has already designed their API so that if someone opts out via an email link, so they get an email, it has the unsubscribe link at the bottom, they click it, they opt out, then this API opt-in no longer works. You can't opt someone in via their API that's already opted out. So it's a relatively safe tool. You just, we've got to be careful not to abuse it. Chained forms. Have you used this chained forms tool at all, Kevin?
I have not used that one yet.
Okay. So the idea with this, I think we've all seen with Infusionsoft web forms, they will pre-populate data from the URL if you send someone to the Infusionsoft hosted web form or you have the JavaScript web form embedded on your site. But that doesn't give you a lot of ability or freedom to change the styling and the look and the feel of the form. So people really like to take the unstyled Infusionsoft web form code and put it on their own website. Because then they can make it look however they want, style it, add JavaScript, magic, whiz bangs, whatever. And the problem there is that let's say you have a two-step process because you want to get the person's name and email immediately, but then you want to gather a little more information. So the first form gets their name and email, and then you send them to another form to gather the rest of the information. Well, if you're using the JavaScript or the hosted forms, that works great. You can just set the thank you page for the first form to be the page for the second form. But if you're hosting them on your own website, it doesn't work. So what we did is we developed this JavaScript plugin, some JavaScript that we host out on the cloud for free. And you just pop this into your web page, and it'll automatically take the URL parameters that Infusionsoft populates. So up in the URL, it's like, your second web form / Infusionsoft first name equals Bob, et cetera, et cetera. And it'll automatically pre-fill the fields in that second web form with what's on the URL. So this allows you to chain web forms or chain Infusionsoft web forms that are hosted on your own site without losing any data. So now I'm getting into some of the...
That's pretty cool. I didn't even know that tool. I didn't even know about that tool.
Yeah, we need to do a better job marketing.
No, that's awesome.
For sure.
I like it.
Thanks. This is a really cool tool. This is only available in our Pro Campaign Tools package, and we're going to make it even better. But the idea is you email someone for an event, and from their email, you want them to be able to add it to their calendar. I don't know if you guys have seen GoToWebinar. When you register for a webinar, it's got a little button that says add to my calendar, and you can pick Apple, Gmail, Outlook. So what this tool does is if you put this, copy and paste it into an Infusionsoft email, and then you put in the description, the location, how long it is in minutes, and then the start time. And you can put the start time in like this or use a merge field, either one. Then when someone clicks on that URL, it'll actually download the calendar appointment file that then they can add to their Outlook calendar. We're going to change this so that when you go to this URL, instead of just downloading it, it takes you to a page where you can pick, Google Calendar, Outlook Calendar, Apple Calendar, whatever. The file that it generates works with all of those, but it's not as easy and intuitive to use as if we had a separate file for each one. Or to add to a Google Calendar, you just have to send them to the right URL. So anyways, that's pretty close to all the just easy tools we have. Um, I guess there is this other one that some people really like to use called Picture Upload to Filebox. Um, the idea here is, let's say you need to collect a document or a picture or something from your contact. So you send them an email, and what you do is you select your options here. So let's say when a picture is uploaded, I want them to apply this tag begin survey. I also want you to send the picture to my email address. And then you click generate my link. So now if you put this link inside of an Infusionsoft email, then when they click on this link, this is where we find out it doesn't work. Cool. It takes you to a page like this. It's pretty basic. And you have options to customize the text here. The person we did this for runs a travel agency for taking people to Cuba. And so he wanted people to take a picture of their passport so they can process everything. So the default text says passport, but you can, name it whatever you want. You can say, please upload the requested document. And we're going to save that. And now when they come to this page, we'll refresh it real quick. Please upload the requested document. When you click on take picture, if you're on a desktop computer, it tells you to browse for that picture file. But what's cool is that with mobile devices, when you click this button, it's going to give you the option of select a picture I've already taken or take a new picture. So they click that button, and then if they're on a mobile device, they say take picture, and then they can just snap a picture with their phone of whatever. And then once they take the picture and click submit, then it sends you an email with the document if you've put your email address in, and it also takes that document and attaches it to the Infusionsoft file box. So it's a great little tool that really allows you to do some cool things if you need to get documents or photos or files from people.
Yeah, that's another huge one, man. Wow.
Yeah, we got some cool ones. So we're still working on the pricing model. Like if you came today and said, hey, I want this tool, I would probably just make up a price out of thin air because we haven't decided what we're going to bill for it. But it's not going to be much. Like $1 a month or $29 one time or something. We really have a goal to kind of commoditize these tools, because right now, if you use Infusionsoft and there's 3 or 4 systems you want to integrate with, you're going to have a bill of a couple $100 a month just for those integrations, and we don't think that should be the case. So, anyways. Well, that's about it. There's some more that are really geeky down here, but I'm just going to pass on explaining those for now. Any questions or anything else? Or Kevin, anything else you want to see?
No, this has been awesome, man. Like I said, there's a couple of tools in there that I didn't even know you had, that I see as being really useful for some people. Being able to like attach a file and like have that be attached to the contact record and they send it back to you. That's a really good one. I've got some customers that like I don't remember who they are anymore that need that stuff like eons ago. And
Yeah.
I was like, no, there's not really an out of the box way to do that. And
Yep.
so to be able to do that is great, and to like know that I can tell people that we can do it now.
Cool. Yep. We can. I guess I did not cover our health check dashboard, so um, I'm logged in as kind of a super user, so I can see some menu options that other people can't. So let me just enable this plugin real quick. Health check, and hopefully it populates data pretty quickly. Yeah. So when you first load this page, right now it's going out to Infusionsoft and collecting the data. And typically with API reporting and Infusionsoft, the report just hammers your Infusionsoft database. But early on in the history of our company, we wrote this really sophisticated system to sync Infusionsoft data with a local database. So it allows us to do a lot more complex reporting without hammering Infusionsoft with API calls. Awesome. So this again is our sandbox. So there's no actual transactions in here. Are you recording this, Kevin?
Yes, I am.
You are. Okay. Well, then I won't show you my live data. So this is my favorite one right here, is this one, because this is the number that tells me how we're really doing today. We actually took an old tablet, an Android tablet, and we nailed the case to the wall outside our office and ran a power cord through the ceiling. And it sits there 24/7 and refreshes this page every 15 minutes. So, like when I get up and go use the restroom, I walk right by this. Um, and so, what it shows you is how much money you brought in yesterday, and then versus the same day last week. So let's say it's a Monday, you brought in $500. This will show you, did you bring in more or less than you brought in last week? This is really the number I really focus on, is month to date, and then versus same day last month. These numbers automatically, they go green if you've got more than last month, red if you've got less. So it makes it really easy. I just walk by, and if this number is red, then I know that I need to get to work and make some more sales and make stuff happen. Whereas if it's green, I can do a little dance and be happy. Um, Same deal last month, versus month before. This is a more longer term, and I think we're going to add another option here that's like year to date versus last year to date, so that you can keep track of kind of your overall business growth from year to year. Because I was talking with somebody the other day, and it's interesting, that's a really important number to determine your growth, is today, how are you doing versus this time last year, or a rolling 12-month window. Like, how much revenue did I bring in the last 12 months versus the 12 months before that? And my guess is nobody on this call knows that number off the top of their head. And I don't have a clue either. I think we're doing better than the last 12 months, but I honestly don't know. So we want to add that in here as well, so you can keep an eye on it. So then a couple other things. The second most important number for me currently is subscription revenue. This is the number that I really care about, and then this one as well versus last month. Our goal, we're a software as a service company. At least we have been. We're kind of switching our model, I think, to more upfront. But our goal has always been to get our recurring revenue up and up and up. That's kind of every entrepreneur's dream, is to have, my dad calls it mailbox money, money that just shows up without you having to do a whole lot. So, other than getting money brought in now to pay the bills and put food on the table, then to do long-term growth, it's getting that subscription revenue number up higher. We have some other stats. Money for new orders. We've actually removed this stat in the latest version because it just doesn't make a lot of sense. But then here's some more important numbers. Contacts without lead source. You should be tracking the lead sources of all the contacts that come through into Infusionsoft. At least if you're actively marketing or you have funnels, because there's no way to gauge the effectiveness of your marketing if you're not tracking the lead sources. So this illustrates holes in your funnel. And you can click on this little question mark, and it'll bring up a list of everybody that does not have a lead source. And then you can click on view contact record, go in, figure out where they came from, why they don't have a lead source, and then add one. Same thing with tags. Everybody should have a tag of some kind. I mean, lead sources are great, but tags are really important to kind of even narrow that down a little more, or be more generic. The lead source might be, Facebook campaign A, but then you just want a tag that says came from Facebook or something like that. New contacts is a decent measure. There's another one that we're adding, but for now, new contacts is a decent way to judge your list building and how your list is growing. We have a new stat where you can select a tag, and it'll give you the count of the number of people that have that tag. And I think that's a more useful stat, but I have no idea when that's going to get released. Active subscriptions, also just a nice number to look at. Not as important to me as the subscription revenue, but it is there. And then this is also really important, the unpaid active subscriptions. This lets us know, it gives us something to pass on to accounting to go collect money from. And if you have people that are not paying their subscription, they'll show up right here. They can click on it. It opens the contact record, make a phone call, send an email, whatever. So assuming you have billing automation set up, which you should, then this is kind of the fallback. When they get all the way through billing automation, you can come here and look at them and manually decide, hey, should I disconnect this person, or do we have a really long-term relationship and I know they're just having a hard time, so I'm just going to let it roll for now. Anyway, so that's our health check. I've been surprised. There's this saying that if you measure performance, it increases, and it's just if you measure it, then it's going to increase more than if you didn't measure it. And so by having this data up front and center right outside my office door, I've already noticed results. So I would encourage everybody, I think, needs to have these numbers, front and center all the time so that they just keep it in the top of their mind. What can I do to increase revenue? So now I think that's really it.
That's awesome, Joey. Thank you so much for going through all that stuff. I feel like I almost feel fire hosed. Oh,
Yeah.
lots of awesome stuff in there.
Thanks.
Also, I'm going to put a link, like I said, in the email to all this free stuff so you guys can get it. Like I said, I use it all the time. I also put a link to the book that Joey was talking about, the Traction. It was by Gino Wickman. Does that sound familiar?
It may be.
Was the cover of the book like a tire?
No, it's yellow.
Uh-oh.
There's 2 or 3 books called Traction.
Uh-oh.
And it's this one right here by Justin Mayers.
Okay. All right, so it's not that top one. All right.
But that one's probably good too. I don't know. But I know this one's phenomenal. I would get it.
Okay. I will change the link in the email to be that one.
Okay. Probably not the hardcover that's $1,000. That's weird. Wow. It is so good that it's sold out and you can't buy it from Amazon for less than $500.
Holy Toledo. Maybe I won't put that link in there. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So I try to find it somewhere else, I think.
Yeah, you have to. Okay. Well, either way, I'll remove the link that I got. Of course, anyways, it's kind of funny. I was being a little proactive there and trying to get that book and hoping that was the right one, but that's okay. I'll look and try to see if I can find that one, like maybe at a different place, and put a link in there to that. But I'll change that. So good stuff, man. Does anybody else have any other questions? For Joey about some of his stuff, or just Infusionsoft questions in general. I'm going to also stop recording so that, nobody have to worry about that.